Hello everyone, you're welcome to the third video in this series, and in this video we'll be learning how to model and texture our 3D models and getting ready for export to Godot engine. So in this video we'll be learning how to work with this, and if you don't know how to work with Blender, you can watch my course. The link will be in the description. So the course is actually on this YouTube channel. You can be able to watch it and learn how to work with Blender. Then here we will be able to select this, and we're going to work on the box that will be the obstruction for the character in the game. So the secret that you have to learn about making 3D objects inside Blender for Godot is that you have to use the PBR shaders. If you don't use the PBR materials, you will not be able to create something very realistic. You have to use the PBR materials to be able to create that. To get the free PBR materials I will be using in this particular tutorial, you have to go to freepbr.com. The link will be in the description. And also, when we start working inside Godot, you will be using the HDR images to light up the scene, and that's one of the things that will add to making your scene look very realistic. You can get the HDR images on polyheaven.com. So I'm going to put the link in the description where you can be able to get it. So let's go into the tutorial here. So the first thing we want to do is that we want to add a bevel to this, because this is going to be the box. We don't want to put any kind of funny thing there, or maybe any kind of details. So we just want to add a bevel, and in the bevel we can just go down and go up a bit, so we'll have the edges curved. You can right click and auto smooth it. So make sure it's in the center, very important. You have to do that. So I'm going to go down to my shading and change this. Make sure it's actually in my material viewport here. Now I'm going to Ctrl S to save this work. Let's call this box. And here they have the principled BSDF. So I'm going to press Shift A to add I'm going to add a texture, and the texture I'm going to add is just an image texture. And I'm going to open up this and go to where I have my textures. So I have these textures I've downloaded from freepbr.com, so you can be able to get that. So the one I'll be using for the box is the futuristic cube. So I'm going to just double click on that. So here this is what it's going to look like. So I'm just going to come up here, and you have the albedo. So I'll double click on the albedo. I have the albedo here, and I can just push it down and put this to the base color here, and you actually see it coming up. So if you need to tile this, you have to press Ctrl T, and you have the texture coordinate and the mapping. To turn this feature I just used now on, you have to go to your edit. In case you don't have that, go to preference. In your preference, you type Wrangler. So you turn this on. You turn it on, because right now it's off. You just turn it on, and then you go into save preference, and then you can close. So whenever you select the text, the material or the textures here, if you select this particular image texture and you press Ctrl T, it's going to put this in for you. What this helps you to do is that you can be able to tile this. Let's say you want to tile it 3 times over, so you can do something like that. But I think this one is okay for this particular work we're doing right now. So I'm just going to push this up a bit, because I'm going to have the different maps. So the idea of the PBR maps is that you're trying to create different details in your work without actually modeling those things, and you're going to be using different kind of pictures. So this one, we'll call this albedo or diffuse texture. So I'm going to hold Shift and Control and press D to make sure I maintain this link here. So I'm going to just link this to the, you have the metallic, but I'm not going to use the metallic here. So we have the metallic, but if you're doing things for normal Blender, you want to use the metallic for PBR shaders, or PBR materials, sorry. You want to use the metallic for PBR materials. So I'm going to select this and put it in the roughness and change this to 2, so that I can be able to add a new material here, a new texture here. So the texture I'm going to add is a roughness here. So it's going to be controlling the shininess of this particular material. Still hold Control and Shift. Let me bring this up a bit here. Control Shift and press D. Bring this down and click on that to make sure it's a new imitation is on. So I'm going to drag this out and type normal map. So I have this. Okay, so I'm going to change this to color and drag this to normal here. So I will have to then change this to the material itself. So I have my futuristic. This is normal, it's usually blue. So double click on that and you have something that looks like this. So if you actually add the other one, it's going to look good here, but inside Blender, inside Godot engine, it's not going to look good. So you have something like this. So it might not be looking the way you want it, so you can just increase the metallic nature of it to have something a bit more interesting. I think this is actually okay for our work, so just save this. So this is how you build up your material to make it ready for export to Godot, and it's going to work very well. And if you add the metallic, you actually have this kind of red things appearing here, so you can test it out to be able to see what I'm actually seeing, have the experience. So you can put in the comments your own observations on it. So the next thing I want to look at is before I start exporting is I'm going to go back here and just go here. I'm going to press H to hide this and press Shift A and add a cube, another cube. So I'm going to scale this out. I'm going to just drag this up a bit and enter into edit mode by pressing tab, select the face, and then when I select this face, I will delete this face. So for this particular one, we're able to use to create the whole details, but I want us to see how the details were created for the whole room. We didn't put any models here, we just use the normal maps to be able to create the details. So I'm just going to go ahead to make sure everything is in the center. I just have to hide that one. So go over to materials, and in fact, let's go to our shading. I think that's the easiest place. So go over here, new, and make sure you're here. So I'm going to call this let me call this my floor. So I made the floor and the roof the same thing, so you can decide to do that, and then the walls to be a different thing. So I can just come in here, select this, and I can just do Control T. I need to add my image texture and the mappings for me too, because I'm going to be mapping a lot here. So I'm going to go for open, and this time around I'm going to be using the space creator. So I have a different material that I'm going to be using here. It's called the space creator. So you can find all these materials in freepbr.com. The link will be in the description. So let me see, where is my space creator? Okay, look at that. So get space creator and have the albedo. So I'm going to select the albedo first. So right now it's affecting everything. So we want to tell it to affect specific things. So I'm just going to go into edit mode. For this one, I'm going to just create a second material, call this my wall. So enter into edit mode, select this and this and that, and just assign it. So by default, all of them already have this material, so I just have to select this wall and then apply to these ones. So I have this. So right now it's not mapped out properly, so I'm going to address that soon enough. So I'm going to just go back to this and just put this out. So I have this here now. So let's map this properly. So I'm going to go back to UV editing because this is a bit different from the box that we actually used. So make sure that this is in display so you appreciate what you're doing. So I'll select this and press U and do Smart UV. So it depends on the one that serves you the most or serves you the best. So if you look at the way it's appearing, okay, so I can select this. In fact, let me try doing something here. Select just one, Smart UV. Let's see if it will cover. Yeah, exactly, it covered everything. Smart UV, and that's good. I like this one. So select this one, and then the same thing, Smart UV. It's covering everything. So just do it one by one. Smart UV, and then this one, Smart UV. So it's going to be covering everything here. So I can now go back to my shading. I have this appearing in a very nice way. So go back to your floor. So you have already added this particular albedo. So remember how we used to do it. Hold Shift Control Shift D, Shift Control D. Maintain this link here. And I'm gonna bring this down and take this to my roughness. So I have this. Hold Shift Control D, press D there, and then link this out and type normal map. Then take the color and then connect this to normal here. So right now I can always reduce the strength if it's too much. So I'm going to go over here. So this is the importance of this mapping that we did here. So I can just go for like 4 and let's go for 8 here. So we'll have something like this. Okay, I think this is good. So save your work. And over here I have I think this is good. I can just increase the metallic. So the metallic, instead of using a texture for it, just use the metallic here. If you're using another material, that metallic that might work properly in your scene, but this particular one doesn't work well. So we don't have any light on this particular scene here to make this to appear in a more realistic way. So, but we can be able to work with this. Oh, sorry, we forgot something. Here, we are meant to do something here. We're meant to click on tree and on tree here, so that we can change this. We actually added the albedo, so we have to click on this and go to add the roughness map, and then go down here. After clicking that 3, so you click here and add the normal. I think this is actually good. So if you look at the details we are adding here right now, these details we are simulated by the normals, and the shininess we are simulated by this normal map. We are roughness that we'll have here. So we'll have this, and this is how we're able to create the details instead of modeling it manually, which will actually make it more difficult to operate anything inside our game. So I'm going to go to my wall and quickly do the same thing. So to make it easy for me, I can just drag this out like this, Control C, and go here and just do Control V. I have these here now. So I'll just come in here, click on 2, click the numbers to make it a different material, because if you don't, whatever you change, it will affect the other ones in the other place. So I can just drag this down a bit and connect this to this one. So, but now I want this to be different. Let's connect this to the roughness too, and connect this to the normal. Okay. So right now we want to be able to add, this one is the space creator that is still the one we use on the floor, but once the one that we will be going, this way, like in the game that we have created, the demo we have created. So you click here. The material that we use here is different. It's called the abstract alien. So I'm just going to go back, and you have the abstract alien here. So you can download these things from the internet from PBR, freepbr.com. I'm going to get that, so I have something like this. This is good. and go down and change this one to make sure it's an alien, and roughness, and go down to this one, alien in after alien roughness. So we have something like this. Okay, so we'll have this particular thing here. So I think we need to work on the alignment here. So let's go for let's say 6 and see what will happen. I think this is good. So the other details we actually have on this particular thing is actually some models I created, like a sort of box. I'm not going to do that here because that will take some time. So if you're interested in that, just ask me. So we'll do a full modeling. I'm going to be able to make a full model of full video of how I model the entire scene. If you are interested in that particular scene, you can put that in the comments down below. So I just did something like this. So just something like that. And so I have, passing through it. So, and gave it the same material as this particular wall. And then after that, they all became the same thing. So if you look at this here now, let me just go ahead to do this so you actually see what's happening here. And just go down here and bevel. Let's go down a bit. And also add an array. Well, this array should be on the z-axis. Okay, so something like this. So something like that. Just something like this that I did. So after this, I had to now add the material, this wall material on it. If you look at now the way it actually looks, it's giving that detail. And so I've put the exported model in the link in the description, so you can go to my itch.io link and then be able to download the already finished model. We're not going to be modeling here. We're going to be focusing on visual scripting and game design in this one. So when we are going to be doing just a series on game design, we can be able to do detailed modeling and trying to make it low poly as much as we can. So after this, I'm going to just let me delete this and I'm going to hide. Let me just unhide. So I have this one, the one I want to export right now, because this one is not complete. So I want to export this. So for exporting, remember we have talked about how to optimize. Make sure that you have optimized. You have how these materials are aligned. This will be understood very well by Godot. If you start adding some other few things, there are things that Godot won't understand. So, but this is a standard and it will give you a very nice work. So over here to export, make sure first that it's in the center. That's the first thing. So if you create something and it was here, drag it to the center. Make sure it's in the center before you export it. So to export right now, you go into the file and export and the same GLTF 2.0. And then you can be able to go into this place and just use your box. Remember, select object and then turn on your apply modifier in your export. So if you go with Blender, you're free to model your own structures. Okay, so but I have created an entire pack of different variations, that you can be able to use to create a very long hall that the character can be able to walk through. So you can be able to download that pack and work with it. It's free, so you can download that and work with it, or you can model your own if you have the skills to be able to do that. So in the next video, we'll be learning how to import all these things, the already created models, into Godot, and how to be able to import them properly and arrange them in such a way that it's easy for us to be able to manage it. So I'll see you in the next video, but please like, subscribe and share this video. There are a lot of people who want to learn how to create games without coding, would love to see this video. So share it with people as much as you can. That's how you can give back to me, so that we can be able to help this channel to grow and make visual scripting in Godot to become very popular. See you in the next video.